Welcome back, everybody. I'm Phil Cutting, founder of Lion Pro Dev, and today we're going to dive into the conversation on how to do conversion and decision making. And we're going to look at some apps that have been come before us, so we can learn from their lessons and see what they did well from their perspective of investors and from the perspective of the app owners and entrepreneurs and from the clients. So first of all, to have it, there's a few keys to a successful launch, right? And one is knowing your value proposition and having a clear, strong answer for what you're trying to solve and what exactly you're trying to achieve with your features and how the market is going to use those and how it's going to fulfill their needs. For example, if we look at Uber, we know that they provided on demand ride hauling, solving inefficiencies in the taxi market, and solving a lot of the problems such as how long is it going to take for the taxi to come here, the boredom and fear that people have waiting for a taxi. Is it coming? Is it not? Why is it taking so long? Right? And various other problems inside the taxi industry, price and availability being some of those. So we want to also look and make sure that we have a good pre-launch strategy. And what we want to do in our pre-launch phase is start building a little of anticipation. We want to start building some community. We want to try to get a couple of our super fans on into the beta testing so that we can come in with some energy and knowing that our app is going to hit the market strong and be well received. And we want to do this for a couple of reasons, right? One thing is that if you're trying to bring in investment early on, it helps investors to see that you have a well thought out pre-launch marketing campaign and process in there to get the app into the hands of as many people as possible as quickly as possible. So a good example of this is Clubhouse. They did a invitation only strategy where you had to get invited into the community from other users. There's a lot of systems like this. Google Mail, Gmail did this back in the day, and it's a common strategy. Create either a waiting list and or a list where members invite other members. Let's take a quick look at the what happened in 2022. We were seeing that 80% of new app installs were a result of word of mouth, social media, or media pre-launch buzz. And this breaks down into some of the strategies that we can use to do our pre-launch, which includes organic, right? Just getting information out there, doing some forums, social media campaigns, some advertising, right? Paid ads like Google. You can consider like TikTok and Instagram potentially part of that, though TikTok and Instagram, depending on how you do it, can go back into the social media side also. And just the pre-launch community hype that you can build up with either like Kickstarter campaigns or any of the other kind of like pre-venture kind of capital systems that help build a little bit of community and a little bit of momentum before you get going. All right. So Uber is a fun story to talk about because it started off in 2010 and it was called Uber Cab, and it was a luxury car service in San Francisco. It quickly expanded into Uber X, which was a more affordable service. And it started off by raising $200,000 in seed funding, quickly followed by $1.25 million led by First Financial Capital, first round capital. And after that, they did a Series A funding, which totaled $11 million in 2011. So with their strong focus on scalability and their quick hit into many markets, they were able to raise a lot of money quickly to build their advertising, to build their platform, and to scale it well. It's kind of fun to when you look back at Uber's books, right? So they were able to gross over $26 billion by 2018. This is a compound annual growth rate of around 58% since its launch. Very exciting project. And if you can see the screen, what we have here is on the left side, we have funding rounds in millions of dollars. And to the right, we see gross bookings revenue in billions, right? And they just, despite the scale, right, a 10 times, 100 times scale, you can see that 1,000 times scale, you can see that it's really right there in tandem along with itself. So it's a very exciting chart to see. And this is great for investors and for, of course, entrepreneurs to see this kind of growth. This chart here is from 2010 to 2018. So from the perspective of the entrepreneurs, right, we want to, Uber wanted to provide convenience, a cost-effective solution, and a reliable solution to offset the traditional taxi market and to go into a bit of a blue ocean market that, even though it looked like it was well saturated, it was really because of the competition and the complaints that people had from taxis, they were able to create this blue ocean environment. They had, by 2022, they had almost 5 million active drivers around the world. And this just illustrates the appeal to both consumers and job seekers looking for opportunities, even after a pandemic. It's pretty exciting. Okay, TikTok is another fun story. And they originally launched under a different name called, see if I can do it justice, Douyin and China in 2016. And it was then rebranded to TikTok for global markets in 2018. There is some kind of curiosity if TikTok is actually allowed to work out inside of China. I understand that it's a slightly different based off of education-based content and less entertainment, but everybody to their own. And TikTok was emphasized short, engaging videos that resonated with younger audiences. And from the perspective of investors, the ByteDance, which was TikTok's parent company, they're able to secure, and I have a hard time saying this, $3 billion in Series F funding in 2018. And the company was valued at around $75 billion, largely due to TikTok's global user growth, which is absolutely phenomenal. And if you look at their growth, from 2018, around half a billion users, 500 million users, over 5 years in 2023, went to 1.1 billion users. It's a hard number to even imagine, to scaling all that in just 7 years. So good job to TikTok for having infrastructure that could handle that. For the entrepreneur perspective, they were able to build content quick because they democratized content building for creators by allowing fame and to take ordinary individuals that had just regular lives and to make them go viral, to really give them a massive push in engagement and to match video and content with people's interests, and to have a great machine that was focused at making things go viral. Really, kudos to them, right? Good job on how they created that AI, that kind of AI machine learning algorithm to go through that. Now they also enjoyed engagement rates are the rates that people install an app and use it, right? And we're looking at an average of like 3% for a system like Instagram, where TikTok was enjoying a 5.5%, almost doubling that back in 2022. Okay, so there's some strategies that you want to look at from taking users from freemium to premium models. And freemium is a model where users don't pay. Maybe you sell their data, there's advertising, perhaps affiliate relationships where you generate some income. and then you can migrate into a premium models where there's just various levels of in-app purchases and subscriptions, and memberships that could be off the app itself, but some kind of like corporate relationships. And Spotify is an example of a company that did this really well. They had an amazing free app, and because it was so convenient and there's just a little bit of tension with ads, they were able to get users into the paid subscriptions without a lot of hassle. And it was very natural for users to say, okay, cool, I'll pay for this service, and thus, I won't have to deal with ads anymore. And they made significant returns on that. Duolingo is another fun project where they used gamification. Duolingo, if you're not familiar, it's an app to help you learn different languages. And what they did is they used some gamification to help keep users engaged, which happened to increase their conversion rates, increase them by 20%, which is an amazing kick. One fifth increase in people staying with the app and using it a long term. So, and when you look in the market, we see that freemium paid apps on average have conversion rates of around 3%, with top performing apps converting around 10 to 15%. And that's really the top 10% apps. And if you want to see the overall markets, I think this statistic is for 2022. We see that totally freemium was around 10, almost 11%, and with apps using a strategy of in-app purchases, 53.6%, and subscriptions we're using a strategy 35.7%, almost 36% of apps were using subscription models. I think it's great to use all three of these models in an app when it makes sense. Sometimes it's great just to cut to the chase, depending on your audience and how they're receiving it, and how much you have to work them into, how complex the app is. From investors, right? Investors are attracted to companies that can demonstrate strong user retention and scalable monetization strategies, right? So if you can show an investor that you have users that stay with you, say forever, right, at a high frequency, the cost of acquiring those, and that you have a monetization system that can scale, that perhaps you don't have just subscriptions, but you have add-ons, or if you have so many add-ons and demand in that market segment where people are willing to pay additional for those services or whatever features that you're getting enhancing, these are just great ways to show investors that your app is going to be sustainable and profit oriented. I think from what I've seen, investors like to see this better than the freemium models. Right now, I'm not trying to say there should be a freemium perspective, but if you have the initial concept that you can get people right into paid subscriptions, which I think is the investor's favorite, or into frequently recurring a la carte kind of purchases, in-app purchases, then you can show that there's value over the long term, and the customers appreciate the app and are paying into it. In these cases, you want to continue to improve on the app and see how you can bring extra value and to see what markets you can penetrate. Okay, another fun example is Airbnb. And they really faced a lot of challenges early on, even just how they tested their model with renting out airbeds and making it so that people could share out a space in their house with a small pilot study. They faced a lot of initial skepticism from investors about the feasibility of renting out personal spaces. And they quickly overcame a lot of this through insurances, through management programs, and just through the profitability that homeowners and businesses were seeing from renting out properties that they otherwise wouldn't cash generate, and other benefits being that sometimes these properties would be just vacant anyways. So they're able to bring increased value in lots of ways, for everything from making sure the property wasn't vacant to making sure there's regular maintenance to having somebody else manage the property without you having to deal with it. So they overcame these initiatives just by building a lot of trust through a lot of marketing and by taking on these challenges head on and addressing them little by little as they introduce more and more the value proposition into their app. Airbnb was valued back in 2017 at 31 billion, and they are stated that they have operations in 220 countries. A little interesting fun fact: the UN, I think, currently only recognizes 195 countries, but based off of political borders and dependencies and just kind of geographic divides, it's believed that there's around 253 countries in the world. So, fun fact on that. Okay, just take a little look at how Airbnb is really kind of taking over the market. So, Airbnb in 2022, Airbnb accounted for around 20% of the global vacation rental market. And just to put that in perspective, we have in 2010, which is I think when they started going public, they went from zero revenue in millions all the way up to in 22 I think close to 7.2 million. No, what's their revenue? Their revenues are around close to 9 million in 2022. And if you're looking at the regular markets, it's gone from close to $50 billion, right? 50 billion. So this is in millions, right? So 50 of those makes 50 billion all the way up towards around 65 billion. So they're really having fun taking over a large share of this market very, very rapidly. Quite impressive. And I'm surprised there hasn't been more industries stepping into that role to help take some of that margin between the traditional hotel chains and the model that Airbnb is set up. There's a lot of ways to do it, and personally, I think there's some opportunity there. The let's see. So Airbnb's ease of use, so for investors and users, right? And keep in mind that there's like two big users for Airbnb. One is the people that own the property that would like to get some additional income from those, and the other is the vacationers or travelers looking to rent these. And they made an app that was so easy to use, and coupled with the opportunity to easily be able to rent out properties, they were just able to create an amazingly loyal user base and to garner a lot of the market that traditional hotels had been taken before. And even around the world, you'll see that Airbnb does a lot, has a really strong foothold in replacing these kind of traditional hotel providers. And if you're an investor, right, you value the Airbnb had the ability to scale globally while maintaining a high level of customer satisfaction, no matter which communities they were operating in around the world. Okay, so some key takeaways, I think, are to focus on the user experience and ensure that your app solves a clear problem or meets a strong demand in the market. For example, if we look at the Calm app, it's specialized in the growing need for mental wellness tools that weren't provided before. And it's if you're not familiar with the Calm app, it's a meditation app. A lot of people use it. Another one that I've worked on that I really like is Euphoria. It's an AI-based meditation app that's curated and has both curated content and custom AI generated content for its users. And I think these kind of wellness and personal life fulfillment apps are going to really grow in 2025 for various reasons. And I think that AI and the need for people to feel more inclusive and to kind of expand themselves, it's really going to grow based off the way that AI is growing. And the ways we can tie into AI, big AI systems to help grow our apps. So for to help the entrepreneur, here's some things that we should do. Right, we should be very transparent with investors, and we should be clear about the our ability to scale and what our forecast for long-term growth and what our potential is, so that we can justify and encourage investment into our products. And I would like to take an example of Slack, where it focused on providing investor updates to maintain engagement with the investors and to maintain how they are able to monetize the app and how that involved. I think one thing that's becoming popular nowadays is to have a internal investor relationships operator, and it's kind of like a CTO position or a CEO position, but their job is to focus on the relationship with investors and maintaining relationships and communications with the internal team, and some kind of touch with the customer relationship models side of the house, right? We all have the side of the house where we're taking questions, we're solving problems, we're fixing on bugs, right? So they kind of marry those few worlds, and they help make sure the investors are informed on what's going on and to continue to raise money and to grow and to just keep the app and its environment moving forward and the energy moving forward. Okay, we realize that apps that focus on customer retention are getting a 30 to 40% higher long-term value compared to those that focus solely on acquisition. It's easy to focus on acquisition, but those that have the ability to think through the long tail value of maintaining customers to building value over time, they do a lot better. This chart shows it pretty well. And it's kind of interesting to know that by a small margin, it's easier to start your business model with an acquisition focus, where you're just marketing. You don't worry about getting supporting the clients. You're focused on spending all your money and getting those clients initially, and just providing the base service. It's a different mindset when you go in there saying, "How do I increase user retention week over week, month over month?" And it's hard to transition between the two. I think you create a mindset and you stick with it, because there is a lot of changing culture when you go to change that model. Okay, so there you have it. Comprehensive look at TikTok, how they built their audience, and we looked at Airbnb, so some of their keys to success. And I want to remind you, it's just not about launching the app, but it's about ensuring the long-term success and looking at factors like retention, like user experience, and creating and planning ahead smart growth strategies to prepare yourself for the future and for the future growth of your company. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more insights, for content and conversations just like this one. See you guys next time.